Hey everyone, what is going on? So we are going up against Trexler in the Ferocious Cup. His team will be Vaporeon, Alola, Ninetales, Umbreon, Raichu, Linoon, and Nidoqueen. And my team is Donphan, Alola, Ninetales, Granbull, Shelgon, which I'm trying out, Skuntank, and B-Barrel. So let's see how we do. So Shelgon is interesting. I think that it's a really good Pokemon because we all know how good Dragon Breath is. And in a format where Altaria and other strong Pokemon that have this powerful move are not eligible, Shelgon can really shine. The only thing is this format is really stockpiled with Charm users and Fairy Pokemon, and your opponent will probably at least have one on their team. So you do have to be careful because of that. And you do have to watch out, right? Because they're going to have Charm, and you don't want to have your Shelgon paired up against their Charm user, whether it be Alola Ninetales or another, Delcatty is another one. Although Dragon Breath will still be doing decent to Delcatty, Shelgon cannot take Charm, and Granbull is another option. So there's plenty of strong users, so you do have to be careful of that. But that doesn't mean it's not good, right? So we're using it in this video. Just don't want to get paired up, obviously, as I said. Although if you do get paired up with an Alola Ninetales, you do have that Flamethrower. So obviously you don't want to have it in the lead, but if you have energy banked, you could get that Flamethrower off against the Ninetales and knock it out. And then you'll be looking nice with, if you're able to get the Flamethrower off, right? But either way, we do go ahead and win game 1. And we're going to go ahead and jump into another one and see what happens. So I do lead with my shiny Granbull, and he leads with Nidoqueen. So this is a poor matchup for me. Going to switch out right away into my Shelgon. He will pull the switch, unfortunately, into Ninetales. Now, I was hoping he would think I was going for like a Twister or a Dragon Pulse. And that's actually what happens because he does not block. So it actually doesn't knock out the Ninetales, although it came close. But yeah, so even if you do get the Flamethrower off, you're probably not going to knock it out because, as you see, I didn't. But it's still doing a lot of damage. But anyway, I do bring in my B-Barrel to finish him off, and he will bring in his Linoon, which is actually not good for me because Linoon does get Grass Knot as well as Thunder. So the moveset I've seen people run on Linoon in this format is Grass Knot as well as Dig. So I was expecting the Grass Knot, wanted to get out of there into my Granbull. I actually do go ahead and throw up a shield just to protect Granbull, but unfortunately he brings in the Nidoqueen and he's going to go for Earth Power. That will knock out my Granbull. Not looking good for me. I do bring in B-Barrel, trying to charge up a lot of energy. I wanted to knock out the Nidoqueen and then have enough for like multiple surfs and try and somehow win this one. So we do go ahead and knock out the Nidoqueen, but I also know he does have his shield. So I do have to go ahead and get off the surf as we do and take the shield, and we actually get to another surf, but he gets to his charge move, Grass Knot, before we can actually get the surf. So we lose on the CMP tie. So very unfortunate for us, but very good game nonetheless. Very good game. So we're going to go ahead and jump into another one. I do lead with Donphan against his Nidoqueen. And let's see what happens. Now, my Donphan, as you know, does have counter, although Donphan also has access to Charm as well, ironically, but we are going with counter. We do go ahead and get off the Earthquake against this Ninetales, assuming a shield is coming up, as it does. Now, you'd actually probably want the Heavy Slam instead of the Play Rough, because it can hit the Fairy types for super effective damage. But I do not have it on mine right now. But anyway, we do go ahead and pull the switch into my Ninetales. Or did I get knocked out? I may have gotten knocked out. I might not have switched. Let's see. So we get hit by the Psyshock. Yeah, we did get knocked out. That's fine. So we're just going to try and knock out his Ninetales. As we do, we're up a shield, almost at the Psyshock, as well as the Ice Beam. His Linoon does come in. I'm going to go ahead and pull the switch to catch the Grass Knot. So we are successfully able to catch that Grass Knot. It does decent damage, but we do resist it, so we're able to take it. Just go into town with the Dragon Breath move. As you can see, very powerful. If you eliminate their Charm user, Shelgon can really put in a lot of work. But we're going to go ahead right now and go for the Flamethrower. Now, as I said, well, I don't know if I said it, but I don't have a second move on Shelgon yet. Let me know, guys. Twister or Dragon Pulse? Which one would you recommend as a second move? Definitely want Flamethrower, just as I said, does a lot of damage to that Ninetales. So we knock out Nidoqueen, and he does bring in his Linoon, and immediately going to go for that Ice Beam to knock it out, and we do go ahead and take that win. So very close game, but we are able to successfully win that one. So yeah, so it was a really good game. Moving on to another one, beginning with Shelgon, and he does lead with his Nidoqueen, and I believe I stay in for this, yeah, because Dragon Breath is just doing a lot of damage, actually charging up that Flamethrower relatively fast, so he does switch into Raichu. Nice not to see a Charm user, so we do go for the Flamethrower. He is going to shield that because that would have done a lot of damage to the Raichu. We switch into Donphan. Now, if you watched my Donphan video, you know that we can take these Brick Breaks as well as Wild Charge, obviously. However, Brick Breaks, because of how fast they charge, that damage adds up really fast. So I decided to just go for the Play Rough instead of trying to feint him down. I could have feinted him down and used one of my shields and had energy for the following Pokemon, and maybe that's what I should have done, but I decided not to do that. So he does bring in Linoon, and counters to just go into town against Linoon because it is weak to fighting. So we are doing a lot of damage. I do go ahead and block that because I knew I could get to a Play Rough, so might as well go for the Play Rough while we can, and that will take his last shield, so really happy about that. And we actually almost knock out that Linoon with counter, so way to go, Donphan. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Shelgon because I do not want my B-Barrel to be hit with a Grass Knot, and he will fire off that Grass Knot against Shelgon and actually pull the switch into Nidoqueen, so let's see what happens. We're going to go ahead and take this Earth Power and allow Shelgon to go down, and then we could bring in my B-Barrel, feint him down with Water Guns, and he does bring in his next Pokemon, and we're actually able to get off the Surf. Could have just feinted it down with Water Gun, but I guess better be safe than sorry, right? Even if he got off a Grass Knot, we do have a shield, but that's okay. We do go ahead and win that one. Let me know what your favorite water type is in this format. Is it Suicune? Is it Vaporeon? Is it B-Barrel? Definitely let me know in the comments down below. I probably will be focusing more on each of them in coming videos. But for this video and for this battle, it is Charm versus Charm, so we'll see who wins. I actually am able to successfully get to my Psyshock first, so I do go ahead and go for that. I thought a shield would be coming up, but he decides not to shield, so that is totally fine. So we do have the switch advantage because of that, and his Vaporeon will come in, and that will be able to knock us out, but we do get off some pretty good chip damage, a little bit more than chip damage. I bring in my Shelgon, he switches to Umbreon, so it was nice not to see the Ninetales. I'm going to go ahead, well, it couldn't have been Ninetales because his Ninetales was his lead Pokemon, but anyway, going for that Flamethrower. I'm going to go ahead and I do decide to block this because I thought it would be nice to save my Shelgon for his Vaporeon because I know I will resist water moves. And I will bring in B-Barrel and we'll be able to take whatever move this is. It is a foul play, so we do take it. Still does a good amount of damage, so I do decide to go for the Surf because I wanted to try and knock him out before he is able to do more damage to me, but he does use a shield, which is totally cool with me as well. We're going to go ahead and take this foul play. I decide not to use a shield, and we actually get to another Surf before he's able to feint us down. So B-Barrel really putting in work, knocking out the Umbreon, and he brings in his Vaporeon to knock out our B-Barrel. And now we have a Shelgon. Do I shield this one? I do decide to shield this. It is an Aqua Tail. I knew I could take an Aqua Tail, obviously, because I resist it, but I decided to shield it anyway and just feint him down with Dragon Breath. So another reason why I like Dragon Breath, similar to Charm, is just because it does a lot of damage. So even if they have two shields, Dragon Breath and Charm do not care about shields, guys. They really don't. The big threat to Shelgon is the Charm user. It's not the shields, right? So anyway, I switch into Donphan. He pulls the switch into Vaporeon, so really nice switch on his end. I am going to go straight for that Earthquake, hoping that he wouldn't shield and I would knock him out, but he does go ahead and of course he shields that one. I'm going to go ahead and take this Aqua Tail. I decided to just take the damage and allow Donphan to feint. Not really looking too great for us, although we are up a shield, so we have that going. But anyway, it's Vaporeon versus Shelgon, and we're actually able to knock him out. I was really surprised I was wondering what he was going for because I was pretty sure he was at an Aqua Tail. I'm not really too sure. Maybe he wasn't. It seemed like he was. But anyway, I do go ahead and block the Brick Break and get off a Flamethrower to try and knock out the Raichu, or maybe even take a shield, both of which are fine. So we do go ahead and take his last shield, so I'm okay with that. He does get off his charge move, which I will let go through, and I assume is a Brick Break as it is. So not doing a whole lot of damage. I mean, I guess it's decent. He switches into Nidoqueen. I gotta switch into my B-Barrel. Now, do I block this one? I do not, because I was curious at how much Earth Power would do. It does a lot to my B-Barrel, so didn't realize it did that much. I charge up extra energy and fire off my Surf against his Nidoqueen. Plus, I also wanted to be low so his Raichu could feint me, and then I could bring in my Shelgon and get off the Flamethrower, because I didn't want him to get extra energy and fire off a charge move, although I guess it didn't really matter because I had a shield. But either way, we are able to win. Barely, but we are able to win with Shelgon. So really good game. I gotta get my hands on a Thundershock Raichu. I do not have one. I really wish I did. But anyway, I do lead with my Skunk Tank. He leads with his Santa Hat Raichu. And just see what happens. I wasn't sure what he would go for because we are neutral to that Brick Break. But he ultimately ends up going for the Wild Charge, which I would say is the correct play because I wasn't going to shield that. And I do go for my Crunch, actually only getting a Great, but it doesn't matter because he does shield it. And we are able to get to another Crunch before we faint, but he actually pulls the switch. And he catches the Crunch with Nidoqueen, which again I'm okay with. We do go ahead and bring in the Shelgon. Now, just trying to knock this out. He does get off in Earth Power, but I decided to block this one because I figured I could knock him out before he gets to another Earth Power, and then we'll have a Flamethrower ready to go for whatever comes in. So I do immediately click on that Flamethrower. It actually is at Ninetales, so definitely expecting the shield as it is. It does come. I do switch into my Donphan. Counters, they are neutral to Alolan Ninetales, but because Alolan Ninetales is super squishy, it can't really take them well, and Charm doesn't charge up super fast, so we are able to get to that Earthquake. So, looking really good for us. I believe I let this go through, I do. This will knock out Donphan, definitely, but we have the Shelgon, and I'm able to successfully shield this, and we are going to be able to finish off this Raichu with Dragon Breath. So, we would have survived the Brick Break anyway, even if he was able to get off another one. But we do go ahead and win this one. And this is actually a longer video, guys, because we did quite a bit of battles. But I am using my Shiny Granbull now against his Linoon. And let's see what happens. I believe he does get to his Grass Knot. I think I shield this one. Yeah, I do go ahead and shield it and try to feint down his Linoon with Charm. Let's see if that works out that way. And it actually does, so we do go ahead and feint down Linoon, so we are down a shield, but at least we have the switch advantage, and I have Crunch ready to go. I actually, when I saw that Ninetales, I should have clicked on the Crunch. It wouldn't have done much, but it would have been better than nothing. But I was like hesitating, and then he does actually end up knocking me out with Charm, but that's okay. A little hesitation on my side allows him to knock out my Granbull before I get off Crunch. But anyway, it's Umbreon versus my Shelgon. I do go ahead and go for the Flamethrower. I wasn't sure if he would block this or not. He actually decides to block it. And we are going to take this move, which is going to be a foul play. And then he is going to be able to feint me down. And I bring in my Donphan, actually going for the play rough, trying to knock out that Umbreon. I guess I could have tried to feint it down with counters. Well, he blocks it anyway, so at least we take a shield. I go ahead and I take this move, which is going to be a foul play. But yeah, really not looking good for us. He just brings in Ninetales and just feints me down. I don't know. Maybe I should have shielded. I don't think it would have mattered. But either way, good game. Good game. For this one, I do lead with my B-Bell, and he leads with Raichu, so he does catch me on the lead, so I'm switching out ASAP into my Shelgon, praying that he does not have an Alolan Ninetales in the back. He hits us with Brick Break, and he does switch into that Ninetales, so that's really unfortunate for us. The good thing is, I guess I get to take a shield because his Flamethrower would have done a lot, and of course he's going to shield that, so that is a good thing. But let's see what I decide to bring out. I do decide to bring out the B barrel. I was thinking about bringing out my Alola Ninetales, but I do bring out the B barrel instead. And we do go ahead and block this Psyshock and try to get to the Surf, or do I go for a Hyper Beam? I do go for the Surf just to try and get as much damage as possible. Actually knocking him out, so that's really nice. I thought it would survive, but it doesn't survive. And just waiting to see what he brings in. He does decide to bring in that Umbreon, so we're going to go ahead and fall to it, bringing out Alola Ninetales, which is good for us because we resist his Dark moves. But I think he goes for the Last Resort, so we could still take it, but it does a decent amount of damage. And he goes for another charge move, which is going to be another Last Resort, but I let that one go through. I don't know, maybe I should have blocked it, but I do let it go through. And then we go ahead and feint down Umbreon. He does bring in his Raichu, and he does get off a charge move, which I will end up blocking, which is going to be a Brick Break, of course. But he is able to get off another one. I decided not to go for a charge move because he still had a shield, which he would have blocked. And I was just hoping to feint him down with Charm, but it wasn't able. I was too low. It wasn't able to happen that way. So he does go ahead and take that one. So good game, good game. So we're going to go ahead and jump into another one. I lead with Shelgon. He leads with Ninetales. So this is the matchup I told you do not want to be in. So I do switch into my Alolan Ninetales. He switches out into his Nidoqueen, so he is definitely up. We do go for the Psyshock, and of course he knows it's going to be a Psyshock, so he is going to shield, so at least we take a shield. But yeah, so he's just going to feint us down with Poison Jab, so unfortunate for us. I do go ahead and bring in my Shelgon now, and he's going to go ahead and go for that Earth Power. I do let it go through, doing a lot of damage to me, so probably should have blocked that. But again, he feints us really not in a good position at all from the get-go, so wasn't expecting to win this one when I saw the leads. I mean, it's possible, but it was very bad. So, as I said, Shelgon, I really do think it's a good Pokemon in this cup, but you do have to watch out for the Charm users, which are going to be everywhere. So, on everyone's team, I can assure you of that. So, at least we knock out the Nidoqueen. However, he is up a shield, and he will bring in his Ninetales, and I'm just charging up energy at this point. I go for the Play Rough. I thought he probably would shield. He does go ahead and shield it, and he does go for his charge move. He's going to be able to knock out Donphan easily and take this match. So, a really good game, though. Really good game. Well played. And we're going to go ahead and, I believe, jump into one more, I think. Let's see. So, I lead with Donphan. He leads with Raichu. And this is definitely a favorable matchup for me because we resist electric moves. However, he does have Brick Break, which can beat Donphan. He brings in Ninetales. I noticed he stopped attacking. Maybe he was lagging, so I stopped attacking as well. I do go for the Earthquake. He shields it, and I switch into my Ninetales. And he, I believe, is going to get to a Psyshock. Yes, he does. So I do go ahead and block this because I want to be able to feint that Ninetales with my Charm. And that Psyshock would have ultimately ended up knocking us out. So we do have a Psyshock ready as well as almost an Ice Beam. So I do go ahead and immediately click on the Psyshock. So I knew this would take his last shield. So actually it doesn't. Never mind, because he does shield that. And then I noticed him lagging again. So I let him get a couple hits in right there. I don't know if you could tell, but he does feint me before I'm able to get off extra damage, but that's only fair. Anyway, I bring in my Shelgon, and he is going to go for his Earth Power, and I know how much that does to Shelgon, so I do go ahead and shield this one up. He switches into Raichu to get off a move immediately, but of course I could definitely take it, and then I pull the switch into Donphan. We do take another Brick Break, so Raichu actually probably wins this one unless if I do go for the Play Rough. That's why I did go ahead and go for the Play Rough, because I didn't want his Raichu to win it. But he does go ahead and shield it, so he is able to get off another Brick Break. Now, do I survive this one? I don't think I do. Actually, I do, and I'm able to feint him. Barely, but we are able to feint him. Then he brings the Nidoqueen to knock out Donphan, and I knock him out. And that will be it for this one, guys. See you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.